Hello, Duhamel. Hope you're feeling better. I'm Inspector Craig. We haven't worked together, but you probably know me by sight. You know Detective Sergeant Holbrook.
Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds.
How do you do?
I do. Well, that's at the station sent you that.
Oh, thank you.
Reynolds? Didn't you own the dog?
Yes.
Sad business. Miserable.
Yes.
Well, Duhamel, they tell me you're well enough to talk.
I think you should know that it...
Yes, Mrs. Reynolds.
My wife would like you to know that it was, in fact, Constable Duhamel who himself insisted on reporting the escape of this man, Kowajinski. We were prepared to forget about the whole thing, but he insisted. It's inconceivable that he should have been bribed.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Reynolds. I think we can forget about all that.
Oh?
If a complaint is made, it has to be investigated, you know, but there's no proof at all.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that.
Well,
You would like us to go.
please, I don't want to rush you.
You'll come back tomorrow.
Thank you. Do you want the paper?
No, of course not. You should send it to your mother. She'll be very proud. I'm so glad this business is all over.
Oh, yes, it's finished.
Au revoir, Clarence.
Au revoir.
French.
She's a pianist. She's played at the Wigmore Hall. They're awfully nice people, actually.
They brought you the paper.
Yes.
Had a chance to read it.
Not yet. Well, just the bit about me.
Yeah, have a look at mine. It's a later edition. I've marked the place.
Man found dead in vandalized property.
Yes. Your friend, Kowajinski.
Oh.
Interesting coincidence.
Pardon?
Interesting that he should have been killed in the same vicinity.
As what, sir? It says he was found in a basement in Uverdale Road. I'm not sure where that is.
World's End. Not far from where you had your little adventure. I don't mean to disparage it, Duhamel. You displayed great courage.
Thank you, sir.
But you'll agree it was in the same vicinity.
Well, I wouldn't describe it like that, sir.
How would you describe it?
Well, I was in the vicinity of my own home. I live in Fulham.
Yes, and you'd been...
I think you know that, sir.
Well, remind me.
Well, I'd reported my whereabouts to the station as required. I'd been to visit my girlfriend in Lavender Hill.
It seems odd that Kowajinski should have been living so close to you.
Well, I wouldn't know that, sir.
Wouldn't?
Didn't.
Your girlfriend would have known. It was her department found in the room.
Was that where he lived, sir, Overdale Road?
Near. He was killed in the vicinity of where he lived. Your girlfriend would have known where that was.
She wouldn't tell me.
You asked?
Yes.
Why?
He'd been pestering her. He regarded her as being in part to blame for my having been able to apprehend him.
How? Pestering you?
He sent her well, it seemed to be chocolates, sir. Chocolate coins wrapped in silver paper, 30 in a box. 30 pieces of silver, where he considered that she had betrayed him. However, they were not chocolates, sir. Excrement, sir, in the shape of...
Oh.
Yes, sir, but it upset her.
It would.
I asked her to tell me where he lived so that I could reprimand him. She refused. After a bit of an argument, I went home. On the way, there were these hooligans beating up a small boy.
Yes.
Well, I think you'll agree, sir, that even if I'd found the man, it's hardly a motive for murder.
Was I accusing you of that, Constable?
You seem to be hinting, sir. You said it was an interesting coincidence.
Oh, well, it is. Any detective will tell you coincidences do happen. When they do, they're interesting. Of course, in this business of motive...
Sir?
It's not just the insult to your girlfriend. He had accused you of accepting a bribe.
You said yourself, sir, there's no proof. And it's not likely.
All right. No proof either way, but unlikely a man of your character would accept a bribe. Very aggravating for you, though. Who do you think would kill Kowajinski if you had to pick a suspect?
Well, I don't know, sir. I don't know the man. A man like that, he must have had enemies.
Ah, yes, we're making all those inquiries. Past neighbours. Of course, they wouldn't know where he lived either. He was a man that moved often. Still, they might have got in touch. Polish community, church, local shopkeepers. Trying to find out who knew him, how he spent his time, all that sort of thing. It's routine stuff, but it usually brings results. And then there's the murder weapon.
Have you found that, sir? It doesn't say.
Blunt instrument removed from the scene of the crime, presumably by the murderer. What does that suggest to you?
Well, either that he wasn't wearing gloves and took the weapon away for fear of fingerprint identification.
Or?
That it was something he brought with him. I don't know why we're saying he or she. It could be anyone.
Murderers are always he, unless there's evidence to the contrary. Battered to death, you don't think of a woman. And mind you, that kind of thing, there doesn't have to be a motive for murder, you know. Somebody that got a bit cross with Kowajinski might just have gone that step too far. Somebody that was only trying to teach him a lesson. Why were you in uniform, by the way, when you're under suspension?
I'm entitled to wear it, sir.
I'm not sure that's an answer.
I didn't take a bribe, sir. The complaint was a lie intended to discredit me. I've been wearing uniform as a sort of gesture, actually.
Oh, I see. Well, forensics should tell us.
Sorry?
The blunt instrument, what it was. Forensics should be able to give us a pretty good idea. When we find it, it's bound to carry traces of hair, blood, that sort of thing. Even the actual shape of it, to fit the shape of the wounds in his head. It's extraordinary what forensic can do nowadays.
Yes, sir.
Look, don't make too much of this question, Duhamel, but what happened to your truncheon?
I think you know that too, sir. My attackers ran off with it. I'd like to have it back, actually.
All right.
It's obvious, sir. He wanted to know what story she told us. You gave him the reassurance.
But they went off separately.
How's she got his new boyfriend, sir?
You didn't actually hear any of this.
No, sir, but it was obvious.
Just as it's obvious she was lying when she says she didn't tell him how to find Kowajinski.
Yes, sir.
It's an important point of detection, Charlie, to make allowances for the fact that a subject under interrogation might actually be telling the truth.
I don't think many people tell the truth, sir.
Perhaps you don't encourage it.
Sir?
People usually behave in terms of your expectations of them. Show them you expect them to lie, and they'll do so to please you. It's a point of philosophy.
I'm afraid that's a bit above my head, sir.
You reach up for it. You might surprise yourself.
If you'll excuse me, sir. First, the man Kowajinski left these fake chocolates in the hope the girl would eat one. She didn't, of course, but she can imagine. I mean, it's obvious she'd be upset. So, second, she phones Duhamel. He comes round to see her. They both admit that. She's angry, she blames him. It's obvious she told him where the man Kowajinski was living, and he went round at once to teach the man a lesson.
At her request.
Well, it's possible.
That would make her an accessory.
All the more reason for her to be lying.
Maybe, but meantime, there is this unfortunate lack of any hard evidence.
Pull him in, sir. He's got no backbone. Under interrogation, he'll confess. Intensive interrogation, sir.
Thank you, Constable.
Sir?
Charlie seems curiously eager to secure a conviction.
He doesn't like Duhamel, sir. He's got this chip about education, that sort of thing, class. Well, he's 35, still a detective constable. Bound to have a bit of a chip.
Aye. You'd think a man to whom so much is obvious would rise higher. We found the kids that took your truncheon. Well, that was easy enough. Takes time, that's all. You know how it is with kids. They talk, boast. Knife and a copper, that's something you tell your mates. Of course, there were 4 of them. They couldn't hope to keep it quiet. They all spoke very freely, cooperated with our inquiries. They'll plead guilty, no. What's the word?
Hassle, sir?
They'll all plead guilty to GBH, no hassle. All makes work for the probation service. So, that's 2 matters cleared up at once. We've caught 4 football hooligans who stabbed the policeman. And we know what happened to your truncheon. And, of course, there's the report from forensic. Blunt instrument. Kowajinski, the dead man, was battered about the head with a blunt instrument, several blows. Ah, it's full of technical details. Scientists, they don't write straight English. They won't mean anything to you, Duhamel, unless you've got the jargon at your fingers' ends. Put in a nutshell, forensic won't say exactly what was used, but they can tell us a great deal about its distinctive shape. The actual shape of the wounds, you see, Duhamel. That tells forensic a great deal about the shape of the weapon used to inflict those wounds. Its distinctive shape. And you know, forensic, they're apt to be cautious. They won't say at this stage that the man, Kowajinski, was battered to death by a police truncheon. Only that he could have been. Because the murder weapon itself would bear traces of blood, hair, scalp tissue.
I think you know, sir, I was obliged to use my truncheon in an attempt to prevent the 4 boys from beating up.
Yes.
It's in my report of the incident.
Actually break their heads, did you? Or any one head? I mean, did you in actual fact inflict wounds on one or any of the 4 boys consistent with the discovery of blood, hair, fragments of scalp tissue on your truncheon?
I've got a right to consult my solicitor before I say anything.
What?
Under the judge's rules, I've got a right.
Yes, you have. Who is your solicitor exactly?
Oh, I haven't got a solicitor, actually. There's my father's solicitor.
Where does he practice?
Wallasey.
Merseyside. Long way for him to come. Anyway, the rules don't say anything about long-distance phone calls or with a villains phoning the Prime Minister of Iceland.
I'd like to phone Mr. Reynolds. He'll find me a solicitor.
You don't have to phone him. I'm asking him to come and see me. You've only got the right to one phone call, Duhamel. Don't waste it. You can talk to him when he comes in.
I'm not saying anything, except in the presence of my solicitor.
Yes, well, they'll both be along. You're Mr. Reynolds and Miss Dowell. You had a meeting with Miss Dowell the other day, I understand. Cholley's been keeping a friendly eye on you. It's the coincidence, you see. You and Kowajinski being in the same vicinity when he was killed. And the murder weapon, of course. What did you talk about?
Pardon?
You and Miss Dowell in Battersea Park. What did you find to talk about?
We have plenty to talk about.
Yes?
Private matters. I think you know already, sir. She doesn't want to see me anymore. I've been trying to persuade her to change her mind.
Look, as far as I've heard, you've been trying to do that for some time. I'm surprised she even bothered to meet you if that was all there was on the agenda. Didn't you want to know what you'd told the police?
Well, obviously.
You did want to know?
Yes.
Why?
A man can be innocent and still be worried.
You wanted to know if she'd confirmed your story?
I think you know, sir, I had no opportunity of speaking to Marion between the time you saw me and the time Sergeant Holbrook went to her house. I was in hospital.
Yes. You must have been worried. And did she confirm your story?
It's the truth. You know she did. Anyway, it's not my truncheon.
What?
I don't know why you've shown me that truncheon, sir. It's not mine. I have very keen vision, actually. I can see the number at the top. If you do have my truncheon, sir, I'd like it back if forensic are finished with it. And my uniform. They've had that for a week. There should be plenty of time to do a full analysis.
Don't you get stroppy with me, boy. It doesn't suit you.
You know how much football violence there was that night. Those fallouts would have killed that boy if I hadn't broken it up, and they bloody nigh did kill me. Actually. Knives, bottles. You say you've eliminated people. Well, anyone could have beaten him up in a basement. If you'd found my truncheon with any of his blood or hair on it, you wouldn't be asking me questions. You'd have charged me. There's no connection between me and him. I didn't know he lived at the world's end. I was on my way home. You're just trying to make something out of nothing.
Take him down, Charlie. He needs time to cool off. I'll see you again, Duhamel, after I've had a word with your friends. It all takes time. Pity he doesn't smoke. Everyone needs someone to talk to.
Yes.
The lad's under a strain.
Yes.
He's been staying with you and your wife since he came out of hospital.
What are you asking me?
If you've noticed anything, if he's said anything, maybe he talks in his sleep.
Well, he's not been sleeping with me. Or my wife.
A man is dead.
Clarence tried to help us when our dog was stolen. Because of that, he's in trouble. Now, I would have expected him to have gone and stayed with his parents when he left hospital, but it seems he wouldn't allow him to leave London. We asked him to stay with us. He's been a guest in our house.
You haven't answered my question.
Well, I think I have.
There is a legal obligation, Mr. Reynolds, on the public to assist the police in their inquiries. Now, if he said anything, made any confidence, any indication...
Shall I assure you then that he hasn't?
No, I'd rather you left the question open. Murder. It's not a question of murder. Duhamel's not that sort of a lad. We both know that. But if he lost his temper, if he was provoked in any way, good God, there was provocation. I've known a man walk free from the courtroom after a conviction for manslaughter when there was provocation. Duhamel doesn't understand that.
Have you told him that? Have you promised him anything?
He's weak. A nice enough lad, but weak. And like all weak men, he can become obstinate. He needs a friend to advise him.
And you want me to advise him as a friend to plead guilty to manslaughter?
I want to know what happened exactly. I want to know the truth.
He needs a solicitor to advise him, I think.
There's no occasion for it. He's not been charged.
How long have you been holding him here? It's dark outside.
He's assisting us with our inquiries.
I think that he's entitled to see a solicitor. Now, if you've no objections to that, I will arrange it for him.
No objection. Bit late in the day for a professional man.
Yes. Well, tomorrow morning, then?
Tomorrow, by all means. Yes, it's well dark. Pull down the blinds, Charlie, will you? I'm sorry you were not able to assist the lad.
Yes, well,
Well, now, Miss Dowell.
she wants to go to the toilet, sir.
All right, in a minute. We'll get one of the women constables to show you the way.
Big deal.
Doesn't seem to understand the seriousness of her position, sir.
Well, look, I've told you everything I know, many times. You can't make me an accessory when I've been telling the truth.
Oh, truth's a relative creature, Miss Dowell. A statement can easily be changed. We expect that.
Not mine.
His.
What?
It's taken time. He's finally admitted.
What?
He asked. You told him.
What?
Kowajinski's address. It's only a matter now of tidying up the loose ends. Rephrasing your own statements. It'll take no time. Then you can go to the...
I shan't be rephrasing my statement.
What?
I don't care what Clarence may have admitted. You've your own ways of making people admit to falsehoods, I've no doubt. That doesn't alter the truth. Clarence did ask me, but I would not and did not tell him where Kowajinski lived. And now I'll go to the lavatory if you don't mind. It's quite urgent.
Down the corridor.
Second on the left.
Did he, sir? Admit?
Oh, don't be a bloody fool. All right, Duhamel. Now let's have the facts. You didn't mean to kill him. We'll accept that.
I couldn't have killed him. I didn't know where he lived.
We've had Miss Dowell, and she's been very open with us, very frank and honest. She's admitted it.
Admitted what?
You knew.
I didn't.
She's admitted she told you.
If she said that, it was a lie. Anyway, I don't believe she did say that.
All right. Let's do it the hard way.
I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know where he lived. Sorry.
We'll all need our sleep. It's been a long haul, Clary.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel you've been under any undue pressure? Ill-treated in any way?
No, sir.
Let him go.
Take him down, sir.
Let him go. You remain under supervision. Report your movements and keep yourself available for further questions. I'll make arrangements for you to get your uniform back since it's so important to you. Thank you for your assistance. Good night. See, on the one hand, we can't charge him. There's no case to answer. And from this morning, we'd have had a solicitor making trouble. Now, on the other, I'm reasonably certain, although we can't prove it, that Duhamel did know how to find Kowajinski and that he did batter him. But there remains the unexplained and awkward fact that Kowajinski didn't die of it. In my experience, Ken, when you're faced with an unexplained fact of that nature, your best course is to put matters back to where they were and see what happens.